By the way, in the next segment, in studio, the maker of the printable gun, the lower receiver, the clips, all of it. They forgot to bring the clips in, so they're coming in right now. And I'm going to ask them, could they come out with a printable Barrett? Now, it's kind of embarrassing. That barrel's dirty. It's time for me to clean this rifle. We were shooting it a few weeks ago, and I haven't even cleaned it. I normally do. That's how busy we've been. Can we cut to the wide shot here with the Barrett? You can just use that camera right there if you want, or that camera over there. Yeah, there you go. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There is, that's Marilyn. And the other rifle's Betty Page. You can call them whatever you want. We got like 3 new shooting shows we're going to put out soon. But speak of the devil, man, I was late at night when we got back. I didn't clean that thing. What a crime. Look at that carbon scoring there. Looks like you guys seen a lot of action. What with the rebellion and all? You know the rebellion? Anyways, total Star Wars nerddom now. Look at this. And there's the videos. We're going to show you some of these for TV viewers when we come back with our guests where they fire with the lower receiver and the clip through this. And that's the beginning of very, very big things and has really scared the system. And I got to, again, I give Don Salazar kudos. He was one of the first to really report on this and help get the dinosaur media onto it. Now it's a big story. And the ATF went and wanted the printer back that he had from the manufacturer he rented it from, and just, you know, all this classic garbage. We talk about an equalizing force against the tyrants. Guys, what do you make here? Daniel Bazell, the co-director with Cody R. Wilson of Defense Distributed, that's come out with the printable firearms that's become such a big news story the last few months.
What do you make of the deposit situation?
Yeah, and what's happening in Europe.
The Cypriot situation is so good, right? Because these are supposed to be guaranteed deposits by banks, right? Guaranteed you'll, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we can't, this is actually on AM and FM stations. Yeah, we can't cuss in here.
Okay, well, one mistake, right? We'll make it again.
But one more, we got to get you out of here because it's FCC stuff, and we're under that.
You bet. I understand.
We're trying to defeat that, though.
Yeah, so the whole idea is that, yeah, so these institutions will totally control. You've lost all faith in institutional banking at this point, and this was supposed to be some guarantee of the credibility of banking institutions. And they did a stress test 18 months ago, and these banks were supposed to come back great, oh great, super great, and 10%. And I think they're going to make some concessions and not take some people's money under 100,000. But I mean, this is a guarantee of what the strategy is going to be going forward. You're going to lose your deposits in traditional banks.
And I guess they're just going to do it over and over again with small ones till everybody says it's no big deal and you're bad if you don't want them to take all your money.
Well, I'm seeing... Or
they'll take it and say they didn't, even though they do. Maybe it'll be an arrestable offense to say they took your money.
Well, do you see how the Troika and the president of Cyprus are doing this? They don't actually have the will in their own Congress to pass this in Cyprus. So the bureaucrats are simply going to have to come in at some point and say, well, we'll take all the foreigners' deposits, or it's going to get so ridiculous, and it's going to edge up from 15 to 20 to 30% of billionaires' money, and it's going to be this populist play on, well, we're going to take their money, we're never going to take your money. The play's not over. It's going to get more ridiculous before this is settled.
What is the best website for people to visit, Defense Distributed, to see all the videos and info you guys have?
Oh, man, the very best website is still defensedistributed.com. That's where all of our videos and our FAQs are and everything. But the place most people go is defcad.org because it has all of our files. You can download all the gun parts there.
So you've publicly done this. And again, you guys really are trailblazers in what you're doing. And here we are with the archaic FCC system. I apologize that you can't use the language you want to. They'll just fine our stations if it start. No. It's insane how it works. I'd like to see an end to that tyranny. But expanding on this, break down the history, both of you. Break down the history here of how this started and now why it's so important and why it sent shockwaves through the system, Cody.
You mean the printable gun idea? And
the printable gun idea and the ATF getting involved and everything that's happening.
Yeah. What this is going to be, and is right now a symbol of the reversibility of institutional control of property, specifically dangerous property, right, like the firearm. And we know that there's been a multi-generational effort, especially in the 20th century, to take the battle rifle out of the hands of Americans, right? The battle rifle is the birthright of patriotic Americans out of their hands. This is a sign of the reversibility of that entire program.
And we'll show people a document cam shot of that rifle right there who are watching on TV.
Now, we're not going to be able to print, especially in these materials, an entire AR-15, but since we just got our FFL, our license to manufacture from the government, we are legally going to be able to make a printable handgun.
There you go. If you guys just cut to my camera, I can show people what it looks like right there. I think our TriCaster is having a heart attack or something today.
That lower receiver that you see in white, this is not an SLA printed piece, and the distinction is important. This is actually a very cheaply made FDM printed piece. This is a kind of piece you could make yourself with an Ultimaker or a MakerBot, machines that are less than $5,000, sometimes less than $2,000. And the piece itself costs less than $20, and that's an expensive way to make that piece. Some of these pieces could be made for $15.
And you have the videos on defcad.org. Well, that's where the files are, but on your other site, you have the videos. We played clips of them here and on the Nightly News where you're firing bullets through these. I mean, these are really working well, and this is just in its beginning stages, and you're just an individual with a few other people.
That's the power, right? I'm just one guy in his garage, you know, and there's some people helping me. Sure, we've had some money, but you don't need to have spent the money and spend all the time that we did to do something like this. It's very simple to do.
Now, you've got some new magazines or clips here.
Mm-hmm. The blue one is the one I want you to take a look at. That was printed in FDM for less than $15. It's a very simple, and it's like the same material Lego is made out of. It's made out of one of these extruder printers. You can feel it. It almost feels, well, it probably feels flimsy to you, but it works in an AR just fine. I fired hundreds of rounds out of that magazine. It's starting to show some wear because of how many times I've thrown it around and stuff. So cheap to make, so easy to make. You can download the file today. And just like some of these magazines are maybe still like 60, 70 bucks online, you can make that in your home for 15 bucks.
Amazing. Now, go over the history of this because, I mean, the media has been saying this is dangerous, this is revolutionary. I mean, the idea is really threatening the establishment. How many newspapers and TV reports have you guys now been in?
It's countless. I mean, it's totally countless. There's no way for me to even... It's been ridiculous since October at least, and we got started in earnest in August. But now they're really upset because we got this license, so we have carte blanche basically to make whatever we want. For the longest, we had to do just parts that any individual could legally make, so receivers, magazines, these things. Now we can make handguns, short-barreled rifles, automatics. We can do all kinds of things.
Explain the license.
Yeah, so we applied for a federal firearms license to manufacture firearms. Manufacture is different from making. So there's a category, there's whole categories of weapons you can't make as a private individual unless you have license. And this is right. We don't believe in license as an idea, but we wanted to do this and do it in America, do it in the United States. One, just for the propaganda of saying, look, I had an idea, I could have done it in a month, but because of the licensing regime and the laws, it took me $40,000 in 8 months. This serves its own value. So we get a license to do it in America.
Well, I just really appreciate you guys. Tell the listeners how this idea began, who's involved. And I know we were only set up for one interview, but I'm glad that your co-director came in as well. Maybe he should say some words, hand him that microphone.
Yeah, if he'd like to. I mean, well, he wouldn't like to.
I didn't know I was even going to be on here.
Okay, well, it's good to have you here. But well, who started the idea for this? How many guys are you? What's the game plan?
Defense Distributed's directorship is only three individuals, and it began mostly as 3 individuals. We thought, well, how interesting would it be not just to 3D print a gun, but to open source it and then allow anyone in the world to 3D print a gun, regardless of whatever their laws had to say. Perhaps that would be a socially significant project, a politically significant project. And so it began, the questions really began, how do we take this from theory into reality? And we did the dirty work, right, of just getting down, getting some books, getting access to 3D printers, and just trying to make things. And the biggest, go ahead.
No. I was thinking now this really works great. Please continue.
Well, in AR, sure, we've demonstrated that the pieces work just fine. But in fact, that wasn't really a surprise. You can buy commercial versions of polymer pieces like these already. We were just trying to show, especially post Sandy Hook, there's no meaningful way of regulating components of an AR-15 anymore, unless you build a massive superstructure. And I'm sure there's idiot politicians who are willing to do that. But money doesn't grow on trees in the U.S. anymore. You know what I mean? We're in a massive deficit situation. So it's really a pipe dream to think you can really regulate this rifle anymore. That serves that function. But now that we have a license, we can do what we originally wanted to do, which is develop something like a single shot, completely printable plastic gun. Yes, it's undetectable, but more importantly, it's unobservable by institutions and countries and sovereigns. You can download it from the internet, print it on your home in the comfort of your own, you know what I mean? The privacy of your own home. And this might be a politically important object.
Well, no kidding. You can send your operatives into a country if you were a government. They can print their weapons in country in some place like North Korea and then go take out somebody that way. I mean, to use kind of a James Bond angle, but how much would it cost to get the printer if you have the know-how? Well, you have the plans online, and in the future, ballpark, you know, if you have the printer and if you got the plans off defcad.org, how much to print the entire AR-15?
No, that's outside of our technological capability. The AR is such a high-powered rifle platform The materials, at least we're working with right now, can't withstand the pressures of a high caliber rifle round like that. But we have proof that you can make handgun concepts. Now, maybe not multiple rounds, maybe like 5 or 6, maybe 10. But so we're coming to that. We're not there yet, so I can't answer that question. But right now, in the materials we have, we were trying to see what guns can you make and what we have right now, if that makes sense.
No, it's I mean, amazing is the word. And again, this is just, I mean, what is your engineering skill? How did you guys put this together?
Oh, the learning curve was steep for me. I have a liberal arts background, man. So I just like learned how to do this on the fly. And now I could say I'm pretty good with putting guns together and talking about chamber pressures and tensile strengths and things.
And I think that's what scares the system. Who are your political heroes? I mean, what woke you up?
Well, I like Camus, man. I like Michel Foucault. I like the French social theorists, people that aren't typically named by Americans, I guess. But I like people who just try to radicalize students and conservatives and say, you know what, things are about liberty. They're not about politics. It's not about Democrat,
I agree.
Republican. It's about liberty. And
it's about, are you for freedom or are you not?
Yes. Are you going to resist?
They want to make it left and right to confuse it and muddle it.
Precisely. So I'm an anarchist, and the anarchist tradition is something I read a lot about lately. So you could say anarchism is the school that I subscribe to, but I believe that that's a very rich school and a neglected school, especially post-Marxist experience. There's a lot of cool things happening in the world and on the internet right now, which are going to make Marxism not irrelevant, but anarchism very relevant.
Well, I mean, as you know, Marx and others actually talked about total manufacturing, you know, private factories and how that would empower everybody. But the globalists have actually used it as a way to control the means of production with the cheap production, but then have us sell our souls for baubles. And so they've kind of reversed that whole paradigm.
This is the problem with progressivism, which tries to identify itself as leftist, and I don't think it is, because all they love is monopoly capitalism. They say, well, we're about equality, but let's control it with corporations and the government. You know, it's ridiculous to me. So I think in many meaningful ways, I'm a real leftist, and these progressives aren't, and these liberals aren't. They're all, neither party in America challenges.
Well, a liberal would want the individual to be totally empowered. Instead, these people are the opposite. They're more like Borg or space aliens.
Right. They believe I can empower you the best by empowering you at the end of a barrel of some institutional gun. You know, you're going to be equal, or else. You know.
But then they don't. All they create's division. Well, right. Turn on MSNBC.
Yeah, it's lazy moralisms disguised as meaningful politics.
Exactly. They claim they're all these nice things when they're monsters. Yeah,
and they believe, well, the most efficient way we can get things done is to centralize power and force you to do things, because it's just socialism from above. You know.
Well, I don't want to just sit here and throw questions out at you. What do you want to impart to the viewers and listeners? Cody R. Wilson of Defense Distributed is in here with us, and he lives here in Austin, Texas. And, you know, we've been reporting on this since last year. Adon Salazar was, hey, this guy can print a gun. This is interesting. It hardly gotten any press. I'm not bragging that we kind of pushed it out there, but I'm glad that this idea, you know, has broken out there. And I wonder what other cool stuff's going on in the printable revolution we don't know about.
Well, I want to tell you about, and your listeners, about defcad.com. We're trying to raise money for defcad.com as a search engine, an open source search engine for basically anything. We see the resistance going forward is going to be about access to objects, period. Just like how music became software, objects are now becoming software. And there's going to be interested parties and institutions that don't want you to be able to have access to things. We think, especially for the success of liberty going forward, you're going to have to be able to find something on the internet and be able to print it. And our site will be the first. We're the only site with gun files. We're the only site with medical device files. We think you should be able to have direct access to things.
This is total revolution. And just like, quote, illegal downloading, it's so ubiquitous, they can't stop it. Isn't the secret to this is to make it totally ubiquitous and get so many steps ahead of them that they never catch back up?
The secret is to get it into the internet in such a way that you can find it anywhere and it can never be stopped. And that's what's happened, especially with the gun parts. And so we know as soon as we have a printable firearm, and look for that in about a month, right, it will be on the internet forever. And this is why the internet is an anarchy, and it's the most successful global anarchy in history. This is why we think these concepts are important. No one can take those things from you. They're online forever.
Well, very well said. I'm just extremely excited about everything that you guys are up to and what you're doing. Again, the pushback. I mean, at first, what was it last year we reported when the ATF put pressure on the company you rented the printer from to make them take it back, but that didn't stop you.
You know, I think it happened in reverse. The company first decided they didn't want to participate and then tipped off the ATF about it. These industry people work hand in hand with the government. That's our problem. They're collusive. They believe that they're a political class and should keep the means of production out of your hands.
I've noticed that people at the lowest level of groveling, it's a religion to hammer their fellow humans and things, and they get off on it. It's like a reflected glory. The state is them. It's like some giant exoskeleton they're putting on.
Yeah, there's this.
But it's not.
Well, I mean, it's this collective fiction, you're right, but there's also this noblesse oblige. Well, we have the money and we have the factories and we should keep this out of the hands of the hoi polloi, you know, and well, they might do something dangerous and hurt themselves. And I hate this attitude, and I think it's something we have to increasingly, disintegrate going forward. So defcad.com is one of the things we're going to do, to build up a place in software on the internet where you're always going to be able to find access to things. Increasingly, if you want to, you'll be able to make it, and no one's going to have anything to say about it.
And again, people can just donate, or can they invest?
No, they can invest. We don't have an equity structure right now, but we're trying to get off the ground. Version 1, we're just trying to get off the ground.
Well, I mean, this is investing in just pure original research and breaking paradigms. I mean, I agree with a lot of the analysts out there that have said, in fact, I've seen some of the articles where they say you're one of the most dangerous people out there alive.
Yeah, one of the most polarizing figures in technology. This is from people who, of course I'm dangerous to their worldview, right? To the
Oh, no. Hey, welcome to the club. Yeah. Southern Poverty Law Center says I'm incredibly dangerous. I mean, you know, they say I'm a terrorist leader.
That's a distinction.
I'm a terrorist? I mean,
you should be honored.
I guess I terrorize tyrants.
Well, exactly. Who do you terrorize? Who is terrorized? Dangerous to what? Dangerous to whom? And I think we said this before last time we were together. Fine, of course I'm dangerous to that old way of thinking.
Yeah, look, I don't need, really to use cuss words to describe things, but sometimes, but I mean, I'm not being insulting, but sometimes you do need it as a verbal flourish, to really describe something, but so what? We should be able to speak like we want. I mean, I love that line out of Apocalypse Now, where he says, we drop napalm death on villages of children, but then we court-martial the pilots if they write, the F word on their airplane. It's like, you're going to burn up kids with napalm. That's okay, but don't say the F word. I mean, see how they morally quantitate things?
Well, it's us versus them, right? And it's here versus there. So Dianne Feinstein can get in front of Ted Cruz and say, well, I've seen the bodies, Senator. I've seen the body. Well, have you seen the bodies, Senator Feinstein, of the people you've droned, right? The many children that your foreign policy leads to, that burn to a crisp from Hellfire missiles in many, countries all over the world? No.
That she's killed.
By direct response. Right?
Yeah, she's on the committees.
Of course, she has a hand in their deaths. Right, but she can't.
She sends robot Skynet to kill whole villages.
No question.
And she's going to tell us about we're collectively guilty for kids that we didn't kill.
Our liberty is the problem.
We have no connection to those dead kids, not 1/1,000,000th of any guilt. But then she has culpable guilt in death list, and she's telling us about murderers.
That's a fact, and the disconnect couldn't be greater. Right? She can't see it. I really believe she can't put it together.
I think she licks her chops over it.
Maybe she does. It just seems to me a massive dissonance,
Well, most of them can't see it. You're right. But Dianne Feinstein, if there's a witch that turns green at night and flies around on a broom with black smoke coming out the back, it's her.
You know what? I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Hey, this is amazing. Stay there. We'll be right back on the other side. The printable 3D gun revolution.
I'm Darren McBreen, and these are some of the new items that are available now at InfoWarsShop.com.
Alert the public to Obama's blatant abuse of power with the new Obama t-shirt. Obama's Joker face on the front and come and take it on the back. It's time to publicly call him out for what he is, a tyrant. Defend the Second Amendment with our top seller Come and Take It t-shirts. And look at that, women's cut tank tops and t-shirts now available. Nice hat. Plus the Don't Tread on Me flag. And now you can become a micro distributor of the InfoWars magazine. Plus, get your own copy delivered right to your door each and every month. And if you're tired like I am of you and your family being exposed to polluted drinking water, get the Pro One high performance water filter. It gets rid of all pathogenic bacteria, cyst, fluoride, heavy metals, and numerous other contaminants.
So join the revolution at InfoWarsShop.com.
Well, if you go to defcad.org, you can download their printable lowers for an M4 and different designs for the magazines, clips, depending on what name you want to use. There's a big debate over whether you should call them magazine or clips. The point is you put cartridges in them that have little explosive powder in them that fires a projectile down the barrel. Now, look at this 50 caliber Barrett. Is that not a beautiful thing? Cody, could you someday see us, having a Barrett like this printable? Could the Barrett company come out with a printable design?
There's no question it can be printed. The question is what's the material and what's the cost? And so I don't know how economical it will be, but I'll tell you, I do have one of these magazines sitting around in my apartment that we're going to try to print just to see if we can do it.
Do you have a Barrett?
No, I don't have one. I couldn't afford something.
Hey, would you like to go out with us shooting?
Of course, yeah. Or would you like to come with me?
Let's go.
I'm out every weekend, man. So yeah, let's do it.
We've got a great place to go shooting.
Really?
12,000 acres.
No kidding.
Yeah, but to shoot these babies, we got to have
I
that.
want to go, yeah.
All right, you hear that, Shane Steiner listening? We're ready to take the printable.
Take me out,
No, man, you were saying during the break, I feel like I'm not connecting well with your audience. You always feel like that when you're on air, but you're doing I do personally. You guys are doing a killer job.
I appreciate that, man. People email me all the time and say, well, what can we do to help? What can we do? And it's not just donations. No. We're launching a service right now called defcad.com. You can go there and see what we're planning, what we're going to launch. It'll be live in like 20 days, and we think it's going to be the first important search engine for 3D printing. And maybe that's not interesting right now. A lot of people don't.
Hey, I love that. The island of misfit objects.
We named it that because all the other 3D printing repositories out there, the people that are supposed to be committed to openness and access, take down the gun files. It's not illegal to make a gun in this country. It's not illegal at all. It's illegal to possess drug paraphernalia, but that stuff's on their databases, right? There's like this social problem with gun parts, and we're...
Well, no. What did the Attorney General say? He said, we need to make it like porn you put in a black bag. We need to demonize it so it's not seen as socially okay. Well, what about government having all the weapons? I mean, I see that is socially wrong.
I'm completely with you. This is not a gun project so much as it is an equality project, right? We're saying you should have access to the firearm, right? Why shouldn't you? And so many people are, I think Eric Cole used the word brainwash back in the 90s.
Right? He said, let's brainwash people.
So many people are brainwashed, especially the people in the UK and Australia, right? They're like, well, I don't want this. This is disgusting. Well, fine. But why shouldn't you have the freedom to possess it?
Well, why are they demonizing cash and gold and silver? How many times has somebody been arrested for using cash or showing people silver coins? Right. I had a friend down at UT arrested because they thought a silver coin was illegal.
Arrested?
Yeah, this is about 10 years ago. Chris Athanas was down there showing people silver coins, talking up silver. Man. And the police came and arrested him. It was in the news.
I hope he went to court over it, got a false arrest.
Well, listen, he was on the edge of UT property, had a concealed carry, wasn't on it. They still successfully charged him. They came because people reported him for silver, thinking it was illegal. Listen, I've had silver coins out and had people ask me at the park, is that legal?
What?
No, it's a religion of slavery. Yeah. What do you call that where you love groveling and you love evil?
Oh, I know what you're talking about, yeah.
A jellyfishism?
Well, it's a masochism, right? It's like, oh, no, I deserve to be under this boot, this is where I belong.
Oh, yeah, they've got all these movies where it's sexy to be tortured and, 50 Shades of Grey.
There's something to
sexy to be massaged on my shoulders. I don't want any pain here.
There is a socio-political connection there between, I think I'm with you. These people, I think, love getting rid of the pain of being human beings. They don't want to have to deal with their...
Well, they just associate the state as power, and they believe by worshiping it, they have gained Valhalla.
Secular religion, right? Of course. I mean, why did Leninism take religious institutions as one of its primary enemies? Yeah? There can be no competition.
It was a competition.
There can be no competition from other states. Yeah.
No, that's it. The state is God, is the New World Order. Gentlemen, stay there. I want to hear more about defcad.com coming soon to the InfoWar. You recently traveled to Europe, Cody R. Wilson, one of the creators of the Defense Distributed Printable Gun Revolution, which we know they got big companies already doing this, but it's all been kept really quiet. You're distributing it. You're getting it down to the grassroots. You wanted to talk about Bitcoin, though.
Did, especially after this Cyprus experience, and we have this anxiety about Chase Bank taking deposits, and of course we all know they're going to nationalize our 401ks eventually, and they're going to have periphery capital controls, and you won't be able to trade the stock exchange, and they'll do bank holidays. This is all coming because the budget's wrecked, but there are already politically impervious currencies that you can use. One of them is called Bitcoin, And it's not just e-gold, and it's not just baseball cards, all right? It is a pure currency in the Austrian sense. You can buy into it today through services like Coinbase.org or Coinbase.com or Mt. Gox, or there's global exchanges all over. Just Google Bitcoin. You can put your dollars into it. One Bitcoin is already worth over 50 US. In August, they were worth 13. The values of these Bitcoin increased dramatically.
Now, you just recently traveled to Austria to discuss some money issues.
Yeah.
That's secret?
I did. No, it's not so secret. No, I toured a bunch of hacker spaces and gave some presentations to Bitcoin people and met some Bitcoin developers. There's a lot of crossover between the Defense Distributed Project and Bitcoin.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Well, how would you describe them? Kind of libertarian anarchist?
Yeah, I think they mean the same things, which is that, you know, the important technologies like currencies and implements of liberation like firearms should be distributed and should be software.
This really is the ultimate revolution, because they're going to try to do this with cybernetic technology and use it as backdoors to control us. Everything is going to be hacked. They think they're going to hack us. We're going to hack them.
Yeah, the front end is them hacking us with like Google Glass, for example. The back end is us hacking them completely with something like Bitcoin. When you crypto anarchize, if I can use that as a verb, when you take currency away from them, what do they have? You know, what does the military-industrial complex, what do they have when you're no longer holding their dollars? You know, you're no longer trading in their currencies. I don't have to buy oil in the market like they do. I can trade Bitcoin. I can send it instantly to anyone, anywhere in the world. There aren't institutional controls. There aren't verification checks. No one can see it because it's behind crypto. The revolution is right now.
You were telling me about friends in San Francisco that are about to launch something big.
Oh, no, they've already launched it. It's called Coinbase. It's one of the fastest growing and most popular Bitcoin exchanges.
Sure, but you're saying it's about to go to this new level.
Oh, they're about to get a bunch of funding. Yeah, they've proven that their business model works. You can go on there right now. You can sell 100 Bitcoin a day. You can buy 10 Bitcoin a day. You can do it easy. And they can link it up to your bank accounts and everything. So it's just one of the easiest ways to buy and sell Bitcoin, and one of the most accessible.
Is Peter Thiel involved anywhere in this?
Well, I don't know if he is publicly or not. I can't speak to that. But I know that people that think like him, people with that founders fund mentality and the idea that like libertarian corporations are the future, are looking at companies like Coinbase and that they want to fund them.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just like Rand Paul just won the CPAC deal, and now the neocons love him. I think they're trying to adopt it to take it over.
Well, you mean Bitcoin itself?
Well, I mean, Peter Thiel.
Oh, well, yeah. So there's this adoption in these things. But look, you're getting into a technology where it doesn't matter who likes it and who doesn't. It works, and it doesn't have politics in that sense. I don't have to convert you into some kind of crazy anarchist to get you to admit that one Bitcoin is worth 50 US. You know, it's just economics, man. It's like,
well, you know, anarchy of ideas and the true withering away of the state. I mean, that's where they say Marx created this total state, but he was talking about actually the end of the state. But then it's just walking around in circles. But something like this is what really could do that.
Yeah, to write it the easiest way, Marx imagined the end of the state through state mechanisms, right? And anarchists say, no, you just build up this freedom and these spheres of freedom inside the shell of the old order, and one day you look around and you realize, oh, it was just a shell, you know? It could never get at what we were doing.
You dissolve the shell.
Precisely, and that's got to be true about something like Bitcoin. I mean, once the commercial transactions for our day-to-day things are mostly handled by us and peer-to-peer and over the internet and on our computers, I'm not going to be going to Chase Bank to make a deposit.
Let's talk more about that on the other side and see if we can get Daniel to talk to us. You want to go on air? How'd you get involved in all this?
You want to
I don't know.
All right, stay there. Well, chances are in the last 3 or 4 months you've seen him on every major news channel in the country and overseas, defcad.org, Cody R. Wilson, right here in Austin, Texas. And again, Infowars.com was one of the first media outlets to start paying attention to it, because we realized it was important that if individuals, not just big companies, could print the magazines, the clips, the lower receivers, that larger companies and then finally smaller companies and then individuals could print entire firearms. And across the board, this is beginning to happen. And there's a lot of high-end defense companies that are doing this. But in the future, you'll have composite materials that individuals can get that'll actually be able to handle the pressures of the actual firearm. Break down some more of the science, Cody, and other points that are important for people to be aware of.
When it comes to printing a gun,
Yes.
Yeah, well, the biggest thing is we're moving into barrels right now. So we're trying to see, like, okay, can you make a plastic barrel? And the conventional wisdom is, no, of course you can't. But we're seeing that you can. The only problem is the plastic expands quite a bit, and it's brittle. You know?
I don't want to be around while you're testing this.
Yeah, well, okay, so we have remote fire mechanisms, so we don't just hold it in our hand. And,
No, I know, I'm joking.
yeah, so, right, we've, explosions happen, but at the same time, there are some, and I don't want to reveal too much, right? But we have found some ways of making printable guns work, and they're going to work, and we're going to...
Yeah, we haven't shown any of those videos yet. If people go to Defense Distributed, the official website, those videos are up there. We can show viewers, you know, where you're there shooting hundreds and hundreds of rounds out of here.
Okay, so on those videos, those are proving that certain components work. So these aren't...
That the magazine, the clip works.
Exactly, like the clip works, and then lower receivers work, and one of the videos that's blown up a lot lately. But these aren't whole printed guns, which is something we want to do and haven't really done for public consumption yet. I'm just kind of telling you it's about to happen.
Sure. Shifting gears just into the overall why this threatens the establishment. For people that don't understand why this is revolutionary, why is the system so threatened? I mean, put it in layman's terms.
Man, I hope that it is threatened, and maybe it's naive for me to think that it is. But this is a symbol that you can make something important for yourself, something they don't want you to have, and especially after Sandy Hook, in a moment they really don't want you to have it. That's important that people can say, oh wow, you know, real politics is I can do whatever I want, regardless of what the state blares at me through the TV and on the radio all the time. It's just teaching contempt for the legislative process.
Well, look at how the Congress exempts themselves from insider trading.
Mm-hmm.
Look at how the banksters exempt themselves. I mean, this cannot go on forever, and no amount of state force is going to protect them.
Yeah, all the state understands, I think, is force. And what can you do when you just disappear with holding something like Bitcoin? You simply just choose not to pick up a dollar from the ATM. You know, the velocity of their money decreases. What can they do? They can't tax you into commerce. Oh, that's right. Yes, they can. Obamacare. You know, so it'll be more programs like that.
And that's why they want to go back to an old dark age, and they romanticize a post-industrial world for us while they're in the high-tech reservations, is because that's the only way they stay in power, is stopping progress.
Everything at this point seems to be about maintenance and centralization of power going forward. Not even an elite necessarily, just the idea is that like there need to be different classes of people.
Absolutely. And guys, if you punch up my computer for TV viewers, I can show them some of the videos at Defense Distributed.
Oh, don't show them that one.
Why?
Well, that's just me talking about DefCAD, so it's not a gun video.
No, but sure, let's go over this together. You've got media here. Is that probably where we should go? We'll go to the video area.
Yeah, it's a good way to go.
Yeah.
Just go to YouTube and check out our videos.
Sure, I'm just showing folks out there that are watching us on TV.
Of course.
You know,
So
you know, there you are in Glenn Beck. And
that's a pretty good one, where we shoot the AR Mag Part 2. I think that's where I said, how's that national conversation going? It was an important time to ask that question, by the way.
So again, folks, you can just go to Defense Distributed's YouTube channel and see all of these. But there's the Mag 223.
I think that was right when New York was passing its law, arbitrarily banning magazines that could hold over 7 rounds. And, you know, Feinstein wanted them on the block, too. And we were saying, look, it doesn't matter what you have to say about it. We can have this pantomime conversation. But look, one guy on a 3D printer just gave this to the internet.
And is that one you printed right there?
Yes, this piece is much like this one. So this is an FDM printed piece. The dimensions are somewhat different on this one. It's a late model.
And that's a drum.
That's a drum mag, yeah. We didn't print that one. But the receiver, the point was to show the receiver holds up to fire indefinitely. So it's not going to break from firing stresses or recoil or anything like that. This is a receiver that you can print out inexpensively that'll substitute a commercial receiver.
Well, it's all very, very exciting. What about this? Defense Distributed AR Lower Christmas review.
Oh, that was one of the first times we got our lowers to do more than 30, 40 rounds. So the media circus left us in December. They were like, well, yeah, you can print gun parts, but they break quickly. No, we had very quickly turned around.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like people that say the government's going to combat robots, but they fall over easily. Yeah, they're going to develop, it's like when they were training Boy Scouts 4 years ago to confiscate guns. They're like, oh, I'll kill those 14-year-olds. Mm-hmm. Well, number one, that's not true. 14-year-olds make some of the best soldiers out there because they don't care about dying. But I mean, child soldiers historically. But in 4 years, they're going to be 18, folks, the best age for soldiers. The issue is it's this cop-out, that goes on.
No, I'm with you. These are just different videos from media and parts we approved. And Yeah, I think the big thing is we're launching a search engine that we think is going to be a place for liberty. And if you want to call it an info war, yeah, because there's a war on for access to these files. There are people that simply, and it's legal right now to have these, but there are people that won't supply them to you because they feel pressure from investors or society, the government, something. And we think there at least need to be open software that allows you to access these things. And buddy, if you can watch that video later, I want you to. That one right there, I want you to see that.
DefCAD.com.
Yeah, I want you to see that video.
All right, now, in the time we've got left in this segment, getting back into political models, I think it's so important that, yeah, I support more things that are supposedly on the right wing because they claim they support private property, Second Amendment, things like that. But still, it's mainly window dressing or talking points for them. And conservatives and constitutionalists are figuring that out. But the statists are really demonizing them right now. So I see it awakening the libertarians and constitutionalists like never before to the fact that there really is no option in the political system and that we have to create a new political system, you know, to restore the republic. But when you talk about the so-called left, again, I think that's pure camouflage. And that's why I'm trying to get people outside of those labels.
I'm with you. Left and right is no longer meaningful after the French Revolution. They've just become excuses for one way or another of justifying monopoly capitalism. So I'm with you. Let's talk about freedom and liberty versus totalitarianism. All
right, well, this interview is going to have to end in about 5 minutes because you've got to go, and so do I. We're into overdrive right now. Other points you're going to wish, Cody R. Wilson, that you would have covered after you've left?
Oh, man, we got Bitcoin. We got DefCAD.com. I want your listeners to please check out DefCAD. We've got a new project there starting. It's going to have its own organizational structure, and I want people to download these files and pay attention. In about a month, I think we're going to have a printable gun.
And what do you expect to happen then? Because the ATF is going to try to claim that, well, you've got to have a, I mean, I guess you have the firearms distributor license. You know they're going to try some type of bureaucratic garbage on you. But then the question is it illegal to simply have designs that are on a computer?
I don't think so. I think there's a large body of First Amendment jurisprudence that will make that a very difficult argument. But you're right. The battle will move on to that direction. I'm interested in seeing what will happen just like anyone else. Let's find out.
Yeah, there's a headline right there from the Daily Mail. U.S. grants first license to sell 3D printed guns. And you can already download the blueprints for free online and make your own. How many visitors you get into the site now a month?
Oh, a ton. We've done 500,000 downloads, 3.5 terabytes of traffic. Just everyone from all over the world downloads our files, and they're not even important. But this Daily Mail piece was a misrepresentation. The license wasn't to sell. The license was to manufacture a broad range of weapons. You can sell as well. But the point is,
they probably didn't understand that.
They don't understand our gun laws at all. They call everything an automatic weapon. They're scared of their own shadows. You know, if it goes bang, it's something terrifying. And
unless it's in the hands of troops in black uniforms with giant armored vehicles.
Right. And then it's,
that's what you should be afraid of.
Exactly.
But they're like, oh, I love that.
What could ever go wrong in a democratically elected government? You know? I'm with you.
Yeah, what about all the tyranny where they want to make kids take deadly anthrax shots now? And like we talked about at the start of the interview, where they're just saying, oh, we're going to take money out of your bank account now. It's a new tax.
It's amazing to me. Of course, these are the logical ends of institutional socialism. And yet, everyone says, well, you know, it's patriotism. Like that Obama could get on the last State of the Union and say, well, it's time for a new economic patriotism. Well, what's more economically patriotic than giving 10% of your deposits up to Uncle Sam so he can, you know, make the budget work? I mean, this is where this logic leads.
And it's not even make the budget work. They're destroying $85 billion a month, putting it into derivatives that they've already written off to hurt us.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they admit it's to hurt us.
Of course. I'm giving the propaganda, which is like, well, we got to take this so, you know, your grandma can get her cash her check, you know, her welfare check.
And really, they've worked it where we could feed the whole world 30 years ago. Now we can't even feed ourselves.
Precisely.
Because when they make scarcity and they're in control of the only conduits of energy and things, then they are all powerful.
These bankers have gambling addictions, you know. They should be in treatment. I mean, they're maniacs and paying bonuses, right? And yet we know this thing's totally insolvent. This is the brokest nation in history. I mean, this is the glittering collapse of some empire from years past, and we're watching it happen in slow motion. Get into Bitcoin, people. Your bank account is no longer safe. Your retirement account is no longer safe. Embrace something like printable guns. It doesn't mean...
Well, I'll say this. Bitcoin is growing rapidly. That makes me a little paranoid, but I have...
Well, yeah.
I mean, I have talked about it, but just getting diversified into it and other things
yes.
will grow the revolution of ideas that will lead to even better things.
It's at least, right, a lesson in practical anarchy, which is, you know what, I don't need this institution, and I can handle these things myself, and we can do things peer-to-peer. We don't need a...
The more we work outside the system, the more we build new systems.
Yes, yes. importantly. And I think that's one of the primary lessons of this. What, you can make something yourself, which is already a revolutionary.
Yeah, but I mean, in this star-starved culture, you didn't do this to be a celebrity. You did this to have true revolution of human, potential. And now, Cody, you and your cohorts are like really well-known and on the map and getting invited to speak to some of the coolest people in the world. Congratulations. I mean, you are another model for other people to trailblaze. There are still many things to trailblaze more than ever. The revolution of the mind is happening now. The globalists want to think, want to make you think they're invincible and all-powerful. They're not. They're a joke. If we all just simply start doing independent things, it's over. And we're going to have pure discovery on that road.
I think that's a lesson. In fact, here's the part about us that's so unexpected, right? I think we're naive optimists about the future of the world. We're not here to ruin your party. We're here to actually portray a vision of liberty.
You're creating the future. God bless you. Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.